me up.
You were obviously very tired.
My eyes are very tired from getting everything up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So good morning and thank you for showing up. I still can't see you.
Good morning.
I'm sorry.
I know why you can't see me. There we go. That should help.
Oh, look at you in white. You look amazing in white.
Oh, thank you.
Well, good morning. Well, I'm recording this. I'm just gonna jump right in. So, have you read The Miracle Morning before?
I haven't read the book, but I have looked online. I'm aware of it, put it that way.
Okay. So it's based on the practice of savers, which is silence,
Mm-hmm.
affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. I did all that by memory. Pretty good, huh?
Very impressive.
So for anyone who is was seeing this recording later, you can go into the Entrepreneur Collective and there is a class that will drip you 30 days. So if you go in and log in, you can start anytime. You do not have to get up at 5:31 and do this, but there is a theory from Robin Sharma who says that the 5 a.m. is the only way. I once watched Vishen Lakwani interview him about the 5 a.m. thing because Vishen has kids. And he's like, that's great. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do the 5 a.m. club. But, I have kids. I'm going to do it at 7. And the look on Robin's face was like, yeah, okay. It's not going to work the same, but you can do it whenever you want. On the book here, it says before 8 a.m. So I have actually done 3 months of savers in a row with a few failures when I was not working till 11 o'clock at night. It does not, I can tell you, it doesn't work. If you try to do it when you work till 11 and get home at I would close at 10:30, get home at 11:30, 12, and it's like, nah, it does not work to get up at 5 a.m. I don't care what as you can see, I was up doing bios and stuff till quite late. So the theory is, and I really loved it, you can do this in 6 minutes, or I used to sit and go read on the dock and stretch it out because I had my whole mornings to myself. I would stretch it out for an hour or 2 hours. I have an old typewriter, so I would get my typewriter out and type for pages, which, pages of typing compared to your handwriting is really interesting. The idea, though, is it does need to be scribing, like using your fingers in some way. It's really important. Not the same. We don't. It's not the same experience as typing. If that's what you've got, then type. But journaling, basically, where you can just free write and you're not looking at the screen, is really good. I love the sound of the old typewriter. There's something very nostalgic for me in there. So I know I'm getting a kinesthetic experience with the typing. I got kicked out of French in grade 8 and put into typing, and it was also my launch into computers sooner than everyone else too. So I was kind of grateful, I suppose. If anyone does not know who Hal Elrod is, he was in a really bad car accident, and he's kind of a troubled college kid. And this was a friend of his. He was in a deep depression, and a friend of us said, just get up and run. And finally, life was so bad that he did it. He got up and he started running, and he started doing a few things and showed that and he showed himself that the morning habits were really, really important. He, I think probably as well, he was really sick the last couple of years, and it helped him get through there. Been to a conference where he actually came online from his hospital bed because I believe I don't know what kind of cancer he had, but he had cancer, which is kind of interesting. So the first S, silence. He's got some great quotes in here. In the attitude of silence, the soul finds the path in a clearer light, and what is elusive and deceptive resolves itself into crystal clearness. Mahatma Gandhi. And you can learn more in an hour of silence than you can in a year of books. Matthew Kelly. For anyone have you heard of, I'm just going to blank out on it's 11-day retreat, Vipassana?
No.
It's where you basically are in silence for 11 days.
Whoa.
And yeah, I've actually tried to sit for 2 hours in silence. I got up for coffee break. had to get up and make coffee and sit back down and get back in focus. And I've listened to quite a few people that have done Vipassana. You're not actually supposed to interview people afterwards, but of course this one guy broke the rule and started interviewing people who had done it, and he went to a retreat and interviewed people right afterwards. And a lot of people actually will quit after 2 or 3 days, because just learning to sit like this is a big challenge, right? I'm just going to change our view here. I'm not sure that it matters. Oh, it just flipped it instead. It's so bizarre. Silence is the first place of the lifesavers and may be one of the most significant areas for improvement for our noisy, fast-paced, and overstimulated life. I'm referring to the life-transforming power of purposeful silence. Purposeful simply means that you are engaging in a period of silence with a highly beneficial purpose in mind, and not just for the heck of it. As Matthew Kelly so eloquently states in his best-selling book, The Rhythm of Life, you can learn one more from an hour of silence than you can in a year from books. And I found that it's really hard to do. It's really important for me. I know when I go to do silence is to not lay in bed and to come. I have my little meditation corner here. I don't know if you can see it. I've got a old set of skis. I have some candles here that obviously, because I dashed out of bed, I haven't lit. And I have this great view of the lake as well. So learning to settle into the silence, I always recommend just start with even a minute with savers. You can do a minute of silence, affirmations, a minute of each one if you're in a rush, and sometimes you are. And I still found that even when you're in a rush and you're just going through it quickly, it does make a difference. So have you ever meditated much, Brenda?
I have done meditation. I wouldn't say I've done it a lot, and I wouldn't say I'm very good at it, but I have tried from time to time. Yeah.
And I find sometimes it's a real struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a new thought on meditation too, which I like, is because some people think, oh, you're supposed to clear your mind and things like that. And one of the new thoughts from the meditation teacher at Mind Valley is, she's like, just let your mind flow through it. And don't try and stop anything. Don't try and be blank or anything like that. Just let your mind flow. Sometimes if I'm doing an extended meditation, I'll actually just keep a notebook in front of me, or you can even see here, I have Post-it notes. And because what I find is that lets me clear my mind. It's like if I write it down, I can let it go. So I'll do what I call idea jams. If my brain is full of gunk and ideas and kind of on fire, I'll get a paper and pen and I'll do an idea jam and just get them all out and then stick them on the window, because then they're out of my brain and I don't have to worry about forgetting them. So they're out of my head, and then I can get silence because I'm not worried about forgetting what I'm talking about. So A is for affirmations. I actually have a journal that I've written, and in the top left-hand corner, I've got this so that you can actually just check it off in your journal. There are journal pages I will also upload to the group as well that you can download if you want to do the proper ones, because Hal's actually, with the book, there's actually journal pages that come with it as well. And he's actually, for anyone who does see this in the next little bit, there is he's actually leading one this morning by fluke as well. It's the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief, and once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Muhammad Ali. I am the greatest, Muhammad Ali affirmed these words over and over, and then he became them. Affirmations are one of the most effective tools for quickly becoming the person you need to be to achieve everything you want in life. Affirmations allow you to design and then develop the mindset, thoughts, belief, and focus that you need to take an area of your life to the next level. It sounds so simple, but I know there's things that, especially I find a lot of women, especially in the ladies' meeting, we've had these discussions about worthiness and convincing your mindset that you're worthy, sometimes of the goals that you set. Sometimes for some people, obviously, just basic worthiness is a challenge, as we see. And I mean, it's taken me, I'm 48 years old, and a lot of the affirmations, things like that, always suggest that you look in the mirror. And it's taken me until now that I can look in the mirror at myself. I keep this little mirror. I've only done it 3 days in a row. When my dad passed away, I had given him a set of 5 of these mirrors. And when we were clearing out the nursing home, and I'd put them there so that he could see out the window, because he would look down from his wheelchair, and it would bounce light, and he could see the grass out the window, because he had kind of a window that's at ground height as well. So it's funny, the little things. So I sent 4 over to my mom's to brighten up her apartment. And I've done it a couple days in a row, and it's really hard to just sit and look at yourself. The next goal is to write an affirmation on a mirror in the bathroom, is another one that I hear is really great. Anyone who went to Roger Killen's last, I don't know if it's the last one, but it might have been the one before that. There was a guy that part of his solution for, he was suicidal, was to write on the mirror and read it out loud every day. And those are the kind of things, those habits, retraining the brain takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think if you're pushing at something, sometimes there's resistance. If you just start to build the habit of doing it and believe that it will happen, you're more likely for it to let it flow. But just doing the basic affirmations do assist people. But and if you find that it's not working, then maybe you need to seek some help or some intervention, or join something like this where you're going to be accountable to maybe some other people as well. It's known as visualization, also known as creative visualization or mental rehearsal, refers to the practice of seeking to generate positive results in your outer world by using your imagination to create mental pictures or specific behaviors and outcomes occurring in your life. So I love to do, I used to teach what they call vision boards or things like that. What I found is people would make vision boards or dream boards, and they wouldn't achieve what's on them until we went back and looked at, because a lot of times people would put the same goal, like, I want to make $1 million. But your brain has a really hard time believing that. So what we would do is look at, first of all, why doesn't your brain believe that? Maybe you've got some family beliefs that you need to dig into and work through and challenge and look at the why of those. So for example, have you heard of the Christmas ham story?
No, I don't think so.
So there's, it's funny how little family beliefs happen and we don't even know why. So for example, Harvey Ecker taught this when he taught Millionaire Mindset courses. It was part of his presentation. And the Christmas ham, there's this young couple, they get married and they go to do their Christmas ham. And she's like, no, you have to cut the end off. And he's like, well, why? And she's like, oh, actually, I don't know. I just know it's part of cooking the Christmas ham. You have to cut the end off. And he's like, oh, okay, we'll do. He's like, this is crazy, but we'll do it. I love you, honey. It's great. And then she starts thinking about it. She's like, I don't know why we cut the end off. Though it makes it taste better. And so she goes to her mom and she asks, why do we cut off the end of the Christmas ham? And she's like, I don't know. I've just always done it that way. That's what my mother taught me. And every year, since I got married, she taught me when I had to go, she thought you had to cut off the end of the Christmas ham. I don't remember her actually ever telling me why. Just always did it. Or did she teach me? I'm not sure. That's just how it was always done. And so she goes to her mom, because there's 3 generations is not unusual. I know in my family, I've got my daughter, my mom, and myself, and we actually have 4 generations. My daughter's got 2 boys. She asked her mom, and her mom looked and she goes, oh, when we got married, we just had 1 pan and the ham didn't fit. Right? So sometimes we got to think about why our beliefs are there to track them down if we can. And so visualizing can help change those beliefs, because now that she knows that, that's great. But she doesn't know why. She didn't know why. And so looking at, if you have a goal and something that you're visualizing, and maybe it's something you've been working on for a long time, you might want to go back and look at why it's not happening and break it down into smaller pieces. So for example, I think the belief of putting $10,000 in my bank account is probably easier for me to believe that I can do and more achievable than $1 million. Anthony Robbins talks about the time that he started carrying $100. Started carrying $100 in his wallet, and there's an experiment that he uses in his training, which is just walk around with $100 in your pocket, cash, and see how it feels. And it feels really good. With what we're doing with the epidemic, I'm keeping a certain amount of cash because at some point, if the stores run out, they don't take credit cards anymore, I got some money to trade with. And there's just that feeling, there's a personal feeling of power. And you are visualizing that in your pocket, and you can walk around the stores and think about what could you buy with that $100 or $300 that you've got sitting in your wallet that you could spend at any time. And there's a feeling when you're visualizing that, it affects your mindset. So choosing what you pick, make sure it feels, it's not that you shouldn't have really, really big goals. Don't get me wrong. It's when you go to achieve them, sometimes breaking them down so that your mind will believe them, and breaking the visualization into certain pieces and doing things that make them feel believable is really important. I had no idea, for example, after my kids graduated and moved out, I had some goals, but honestly, I'd been making leftovers and paying my mortgage and just been in the thrall of things and volunteering, and I didn't have a minute to myself. And then all of a sudden I had this space, and someone took me to Vegas, and we stayed in the best hotel, went to seven nights of two shows a night. And I had and I got to go shopping, and I got to do all sorts of crazy fun things that honestly, I had no idea. I just really judged going to Vegas and, it's just for gambling and that. And that feeling of luxury is something I'd never experienced before. So my brain didn't know how to create it. Whereas I stood in the Wynn Hotel and touched a silk wall. And now I know, it's like, I'd like to go do that again. And I don't find it hard to believe. But having a little bit of a knowing of even, and you can fake it until you make it, absolutely. But find a way that your brain will believe it, whether it's bringing a silk wall, or I used to design carpets for interiors design of jets, and we would get all of our samples. And I kept my samples that had silk in them for my feet, because a silk rug on your toes is like nothing I've ever felt before. Absolutely amazing. And I can still visualize that feeling. So even if it means going out to a special meal, or going and standing and looking in a window, I used to, I had a purse on Granville Street that I would walk by every day, and I went home and I would draw it. At the time, it was $600. This is 30 years ago. And I visualized it every day. I went home, I wrote notes, I put it on a Post-it note. I think I probably still have the Post-it note. And guess what? I still have the purse. Because eventually it went on sale. I had saved up a little bit of money, and someone actually lent me a little bit of money to buy that purse because they knew how much I wanted it. And it lasted me forever. It was by Moschino. It was absolutely amazing. But that visualization gave me that drive to follow through and actually achieve purchasing it, which it might seem shallow to some people to spend that much money on a purse. But I think we all have some physical things that we want in our life, and visualization can help that happen. Or maybe it's something bigger that we want to achieve too. Maybe it's graduating from a course, or as Brenda teaches, deeply connecting with your audience, and you're having a hard time with that. And like she says, having a mantra beforehand can really help you get on the stage and get through yourself. And visualization can be part of that. So before you even get to the stage, before you get to the green room, visualizing what it'll look like might take your stress level down a little bit. So visualization. exercise. And so that's a pretty easy one. That one does not need any explanation. What it does, though, is in the 1-minute version, pick anything. I actually just got a slam ball because I work at a gym, and normally I get paid to put away weights. So I'm doing a lot less just general exercise in the day. I'm not tidying, 50-pound weights away. So I brought a slam ball home. We had some damaged products. So it actually, every time you slam it, a little puff of sand comes up. So I flipped it over. But if I lift that 20 times in a minute, I can do my savers. It's a 22-pound ball. Or I can go for a run for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter what it is. It's about getting up and getting active. I always add on top of that a glass of water with lemon juice in the morning before your first coffee. Wishing I had that right now because I literally got to this in my little space. But planning ahead the night before really does make a difference as to what you're going to do. And just building a habit out of it. Maybe it's meeting somebody and doing a run or a walk. Brenda has a habit of walking up Grand Street, right? With
Grand Boulevard.
Grand Boulevard with Gregory, her dog.
No, my dog doesn't walk that far.
No, okay.
I walk him first, and then I walk up the boulevard.
Oh, that's too funny. If you don't make time for exercise, you'll probably have to make time for illness. Robin Sharma. And I see that a lot. And walking is great, but adding weight is really important to our body structure. I have parents who they went for a walk every evening. And my dad was 83 when he passed. And my mom finally now at 70, she's 78 this year. I finally got her doing weights over at the other building in her complex. And of course now we're all shut down for COVID. So now she can't go over. But
yeah, I was doing weights at the Y 2 times a week before I couldn't go anymore.
Right. And it's really, really important that because I've now seen how bones just wither away. And so doing that weight bearing exercise and is really important because you're also putting weight on your back too. So you're building your bone structure in your back. It all comes out in the end. I can tell you that for sure. The only exercise most people get is jumping to conclusions, running down their friends, and sidestepping responsibility and pushing back their luck. Unknown. One of my favorite things we have at the gym, and people used to make fun of me, was we have ropeless skipping ropes. And I didn't even believe that they worked. And our front desk, I would stand at our front desk and kind of tease one of the instructors who was teaching her course. And I would sit and jump to her talking and make faces at her. And when I went to actually go and use a skipping rope, which I've never successfully done, probably more than 10 loop-de-loops, I found that my brain had put together what I was supposed to do with the skipping rope. So this goes back to, I guess, actually we can go back to visualization here too, not intentionally. But it does make a big difference when you exercise. Reading. R is for reading. A person who won't read has no advantage over one who can't. Mark Twain. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body, and prayer is to the soul. We become the books we read. Well, here's the perfect example, of course. It's really funny because I actually gave my copy away of this at the ladies' meeting to someone, and magically again, my dad, who I always say was ahead of his time, I'd go to tell him about a book and he'd be like, Wayne Dyer, yep, here, yeah, oh, yeah, Deepak Chopra, here. He'd hand me the book off his bookshelf. I was like, this guy's ahead of his time. And I have no idea where this book came from, if he purchased it, which would be weird because I don't remember he used to be an avid reader of novels, not too much of, other than the other books. I don't know where he got recommendations from them or whatever, but those books, I have no idea how he got them or where they came from, but obviously they were molding his mind. And somehow he magically got me this again. So really great, because I wore my other copy out. One of the things Hal Elrod too recommends is when you go to read books is to write in them. I wrote in pencil here. I love writing on my own books, which is why as much as I do love taking things out from the library, I don't know if anyone else has got library books out right now because all our libraries book. I should probably go and renew this, but luckily in Whistler we have no library fines to start with, and now they're closed for COVID. This is the Code of another book that I recommend, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, and it's one of those books that you can just pick up anywhere and read a chapter, and it will make you think. So it's a mix of stories, 10 unconventional laws to redefine your life and succeed on your own terms. And the other thing I'm doing with reading is I'm using it as part of my affirmations. I'm actually reading The Alchemist out loud to my grandkids and recording it. They don't know this yet, and my son, because I know The Alchemist is a book I think that has changed a lot of lives. Paulo, I don't know if anyone knows how to say this, Coelho? Anyway, highly recommend that book as well. It can be life-changing. Reading, the fifth practice, is the lifesavers, is the fast track to transforming any area of our life. It is one of the most immediate methods for acquiring the knowledge, ideas, and strategies you need to achieve level 10 success in any of your life. And basically hack what you want to get done, because you can try and learn on your own, but I think it's a proven fact that when we have mentors and people that can lead us through something that we want, because they've already done it before and shown us how, it's much faster. So he has the other books that he recommends are Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Secret of the Millionaire Mind, which T. Harv Eker actually he gave that away at all of his things, and Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And this is another one of my favorites, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I often will give people the love languages for kids or teachers, which I really, really appreciated when my kids were little. It helped me understand them. Soulmate Experience by Joe Dunn. I've never read that. 7 Principles for Making a Marriage Work by John Gotham and Nan Silver. How much should you read is another question. If you're doing savers in 6 minutes, then read a page. It's going to make a difference. Even if you read a page, you will eventually get through the book, a page a day. I've had times where I was that busy, where I was doing savers and it was a page a day. But then eventually you've got into something and you'll find the time to read more, because sometimes getting through the first 3 pages of a book can be a little bit dry, and you need to just get into it. Scribing, the last one, I think that is probably one of the hardest things for most people to do. I recommend sometimes, and here's the other thing too, you don't have to do these in order. Keeping a dream journal would be the same thing. I recommend sometimes just getting it out of, before you even get out of bed, do the scribing first and just write. Where it is that you write, putting words on the page is a form of therapy and doesn't cost a dime. And if you're having a really hard time scribing, find a different art form to use to express your thoughts and feelings. I did 7 years of art school that I think I used as therapy to get over divorce and the breakup of a family, like the death of a loved one. And so painting, I think, had the same effect as scribing, because then I was still thinking through this process of getting something out. Some people will not be able to scribe right away. If you need to start with just doing the Post-it note thing and just posting 1 word a day, it's about getting something out, and again, that visceral kinesthetic experience of writing, or even if it's just starting with 1 word and you don't want to sit and write sentences about what's going on in your head. For some people, that's a huge challenge. For others, and if you really get into the scribing, then you might want to read, go a little bit further and do what are called morning pages from the, I'm going to blank out Carol's last name. Artist Way. I can't think of her last name. I think her name is Carol. There's a book called The Artist's Way, and there's actually a journal that goes with it as well that'll help you do what's called morning pages, which is just to sit and write. Many people have ended up creating novels and plays and things that have really turned into something far more amazing than they ever started when they started the scribing experience. I find quite often it's extremely cathartic. I'll start typing on this old typewriter, and it'll bring up a lot of different feelings, sometimes some tears, and sometimes laughter. It's not all about sadness or whatever. Maybe just write down some words that make you feel good. Write a story that of an experience, or just write about the day before. Or like I said, it's not about the amount. If you're just doing savers, do a minute, write a word. It will make a difference, just finding a way to express yourself. Scribing is the final practice in savers. It is really just another word for writing. But please allow me to keep it real. It needs an S for the end of life savers because W wouldn't fit anywhere. Thanks, Doris. I owe you one. My favorite form of scribing is journaling, which is to do 5 to 10 minutes during my miracle morning. By getting your thoughts out of your head and putting them into writing, you gain valuable insights into that you'd otherwise never see. The scribing elements of your miracle morning enable you to document your insights, ideas, breakthroughs, realizations, successes, lessons learned, as well as any area of opportunity, personal growth, and improvement. I have to look this up. I actually decided, one thing I do most mornings is I do a 6-phase meditation, and I will actually play it for you, Brenda, if you're interested, or I'll post the link and I'll play it for you. But I basically took and described what many of my mornings look like are 6-phase Miracle Mind morning meditation, or something like that. It's when you mash up Vishen Laklani, Tony, Dean, and Hal, and they all had a baby, and that's quite often what my mornings look like. The 6-phase meditation, it has deep breathing from I'm gonna forget his name. I'm gonna look it up here because it'll be a great closing. But it goes through things that you can scribe about as well. So you can either sit and listen to this, or you could sit and go through some things that you can be grateful for during the day, and quite amazing. And the 6-phase meditation is actually written by Vishen Laklani, but many people copy it. I don't believe he minds. Wim Hof is who I'm looking for. Let me just quickly hit pause here. And I'm not going to, I should do this through the, I can do this through share screen. Might be more effective for sound. 1 second. Yeah, see my screen last night? This was getting a little out of hand. 6-phase meditation. Especially right now, with a lot of people around us sick, I really liked this meditation because it actually, if you've ever heard of Wim Hof, 6-phase, I don't have my glasses on. Brenda teaches presentations. She would be like, you should really be more ready. Okay, hold on, let me hit, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit play on this, and then I'm gonna just let it play through the session, and you go off and do your thing, and I'll see you again at 7 if you're finished your walk. I'm just gonna share my screen so you can see the details of the video. There we go. Share. All right, so the theory with Wim Hof, he's going to go through this, but he's called the Iceman, and his breathing technique actually helps you raise your pH balance and basically so you have more healthy blood cells, which I also highly recommend for anybody right now with the COVID thing. If there's a chance you might catch COVID, which I think there's a good chance we may all get it at some point. This is something we can do to prepare our bodies. And part of doing savers and doing the miracle morning is preparing us for not just the day, but for life. And it all adds up into something bigger by doing all these little pieces daily. And it builds strength of mind, strength of body, strength of spirit, I think, as well. It means you've got something you'll go to. I know for me, creating this little corner and having a mat to go to and building those habits every day is really amazing. So thank you for joining me this morning, Brenda.
Thank you.
And I'm going to hit play here, and I'm going to turn my video off, and you can stay or go as long as you want. And I've sent you an invitation to, if you go into the Entrepreneur Collective and go to Miracle Morning, there's a 30-day challenge that has been launched in there, and it's a drip campaign. So once you do it, you can go back and do it again, and it'll put up, and you can choose to network in there as well with other people doing it if you want to challenge each other or find someone in your area who's doing it and you want to just record that you did it every day. It's fun to do that. Sometimes some of us need that accountability. So have a lovely walk, and I'll see you later.
Thank you. See you later.
Take care.
Going great, man. Deeply in, letting go. Fully in, letting go. Right on, fully in, letting go. Not fully out, just letting go. But fully in, letting go. And once again, come on, don't hesitate, give it. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. You're going great, man. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. About changing the chemistry right now in your body. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. Now you're like, feels good, huh? Give it fully. Take him in, letting go. Take him in, letting go. Take him in, letting go. No hesitation. It's about changing the chemistry right now in your body. Ten times more. Deeply in, letting go. 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 Okay, 5 times more. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. Deeply in, letting go. Let it go and stop. Just stop. Witness. Without air in the lungs, you are able to stay much more than normally. Why? Because we changed your chemistry. Carbon dioxide went out, O2 went up, filled up all the cells, and the pH levels go up. Then we are able to tap into the central nervous system, and at the end we got the brainstem, and that's the place of the pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, And the pineal gland makes the secretion of adrenaline in dangerous situations. Normally, we do not get into it because of our shallow breathing. But this is the way to get into the most primitive part, the reptilian brain, without many difficulties, and fend off bacteria, getting better into the endocrine systems. In minutes, and you're still on. That shows that the capacity to fill yourself up with oxygen is a lot more than we normally use. And as we do not use it, we are not making a use of the full capacity of our physiology. Now we found out we got a different layers, and we never use it. And this is the way to learn to use it, to tap in and back into the primitive brain, into the endocrine systems, immune systems, the way nature has meant it to be. Everybody is able to do. Whenever you feel the urge, you don't need to force. It's only learning how to oxygenize the body and all the cells. You're going great, man. Nice one. Feels good, huh? When you feel the urge to breathe, you breathe in fully and keep it for 10-15 seconds. Then that's one round. Fully in and keep it. Letting go.
Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, draw your attention to the top of your skull. Feel your skull relax. Feel this feeling of relaxation flow gently downward to your cheeks, your face, your neck, your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your fingers. Now feel this feeling flow gently downward across your chest, your abdomen, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet. Draw your attention to your eyelids. Feel how relaxed they are. Allow this feeling of relaxation to flow gently downward, all the way down your nose. You're now in a deep, relaxed state of mind. We will start with phase 1, compassion. Take a deep breath and feel a light of love and compassion radiating down your scalp, flowing all the way down throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. Feels like the body, a white bubble of compassion. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, feel this light radiate outwards and envelope the entire room. Feel yourself as a compassionate and healing creature in this room. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, feel that light radiate outwards and envelope your building or home. Envelope a light of love and compassion. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, feel this light of compassion envelope your neighborhood. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, see this light fill your city. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, see this light fill your country with love and compassion. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, see this light fill the entire planet Earth. See the earth in front of you, glowing and covered in a beautiful light of love and compassion. A light that's connected to you. Feel yourself radiating compassion to all living creatures on Earth. We now move on to phase 2, gratitude. I want you to think, bring back to mind 3 to 5 that you're grateful for in your personal life. Be sure to bring back all happy memories, feelings, sensations associated with these moments. I will give you a few seconds to reflect on this. Now think about 3 to 5 moments in your work life that you are grateful for. Bring back to memory positive feelings associated with these moments when being heard. Emotions help make the entire experience richer. We now go on to you. Think about 3 to 5 things about yourself that you are truly grateful for. As you bring these to memory, think about your love and compassion and appreciation for who you are. I will give you a few moments to reflect on this. And we now move to phase 3, forgiveness. Bring to mind someone whom you feel you need to forgive. See that person in front of you. It can be a person or a situation. As you see them in front of you, I want you to repeat the following line. I forgive you. I ask you forgive me. In a deep breath. As you exhale, feel whatever rage, regret, or resentment you have in any situation in the moment that's present. Release from your body. Now see that same individual and mentally hear them tell you, I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, release whatever negative charges you have against that person. We now come to phase 4, your vision for your future. Think about any area in your life that you have an incredible vision for 3 years down the road. You can pick 1, 2, or 3 areas. Give you 90 seconds. Daydream, imagine, and visualize yourself in this area 3 years from now. You may begin. Be sure to stretch yourself. Dream big. Feel the excitement you would feel when this vision comes true. Feel the feelings of joy, happiness, accomplishment, success. Feel the feelings you would feel as you see this vision happening and coming true for you. Be sure to bring in all your five senses. Think of the sounds you'd hear, the smells, the colors, the touch. As you wrap up, feel the excitement of this vision being true for you. And know that this vision is on its way. We now come to phase 5, the perfect day. Think about the upcoming day, from waking up, perhaps morning exercise, breakfast, commute, work, lunch, the various segments of your work, coming back home, the various activities you do now with friends. Divide your day into segments that you go to. Each segment, spend a few seconds visualizing it unfolding in pure perfection, and make a statement of how you want that segment to unfold. I will give you a few moments to complete this. Be sure to feel the positive emotions associated with each segment as it unfolds perfectly. Bring in all five senses. Continue your segment beyond your workday, into your time spent after work. See your evening unfolding perfectly. Now nighttime. Now end yourself going to bed and declaring that you're going to have an amazingly healthy, relaxing, deep sleep. We now come to phase 6, the blessing. You've now visualized your ideal life 3 years ahead, and you've now declared how you'd like your perfect day to unfold. Now call upon the higher power to deliver you a blessing, to fill you with some power, so that you can go forth and have an amazing day. Picture a golden light shining down upon your head. Feel this light flow gently downwards across your face, down your neck, your shoulders, your arms all the way down to your fingers. Feel this light fill with support, power, hope, energy, and all the qualities you need to be infused with, so that you can go forth and have an amazing day. Imagine the light flowing down gently now across your chest, your neck, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your arms, your feet. Imagine this energy swirling within you, energizing you, filling you with the necessary qualities, abilities, and power to have an amazing day. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, lock in this feeling of power. Know that the universe has your back, and that you are in control of your life, your days, and your legacy. We have now completed the 6-phase meditation. You may choose to remain in this state and enjoy the beneficial effects of meditation. Or you can choose to awaken with the sound of my voice, counting from 1 to 5. I will now count from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, you will be wide awake, feeling wonderful, in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, 3. At the count of 5, you will open your eyes, feeling wonderful, in perfect health, feeling better than before. 4, 5. Eyes open, feeling wonderful, in perfect health, feeling better than before. You have now completed the 6-phase meditation.